All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a subject that's, well, it's absolutely crucial, but maybe a little overlooked. We're talking about a grand tour of what our source, Dr. Nikhil Chauhan, calls the dignified gatekeeper. And let's just get right to the heart of it with this quote from Dr. Chauhan. You see, this isn't just a biology lesson. According to him, we're talking about the very thing that preserves human dignity, the thing that literally prevents social chaos, a single structure holding it all together. Think about that. So, first things first, let's meet this muscular bouncer, this guardian of our dignity. We're going to look at its anatomy, not just as a muscle, but as something way more important, an agent of social stability. Okay, so what are we really talking about? The anal sphincter. And the source gives us this incredible definition. It's not just some muscle, it's the final defensive line. Or, my personal favorite, the bouncer at the velvet rope of the rectal nightclub. I mean, that just paints a picture, doesn't it? It decides who gets in, or, well, who gets out, and when.
But here's the thing, this bouncer isn't working alone. It's a two-part team. First, you've got the internal sphincter. That's the automatic guardian, the involuntary one that's always on patrol. Then there's the external sphincter. That's your conscious decision maker, the one you have control over. It's this beautiful partnership between the automatic and the manual that really makes the whole system work.
And you know, the source even argues there's an artistic side to all this. It's described as a triumph of biomechanical design. The idea here is that it's not just functional, it's beautiful, sculpted with the kind of precision you'd see in a marble statue by Bernini. Who knew, right? Okay, so we've covered the what it is. Now let's get into the how to take care of it. This is where we get into the practical stuff. Think of this next section as the official owner's manual for your gatekeeper. So listen up if you're over 30, because this is where maintenance really kicks in. The source lays out a few key things. First, dietary fiber. This is your first line of defense against emergency evacuations. Then there's something called the cheek squeeze protocol, or CSP, to maintain tone. And finally, and this is important, avoid prolonged strain. I love how the paper puts it, it's a gatekeeper, not a forklift. Words to live by. Now, there's a special note here for women over 55. The research points to a higher risk of, let's call them spontaneous wind events, or SWEs. And beyond the physical exercises, the source offers some practical social advice. It actually recommends developing an ironclad "it was the chair" facial expression. You know, for those little public mishaps. And believe it or not, there's hard data on this. Scientists have actually calculated the velocity threshold where things get risky. That number is 2.5 meters per second. Anything faster than that, and you're officially in the territory of aggressive flatulence. And yes, that comes with its own set of problems. And we're not just talking about being embarrassed. Oh no, the dangers are real. We're talking about potential micro tears in the lining. We're talking about sounds that could be mistaken for brass instruments, and, my personal favorite, actual documented cases of propulsion-related yoga injuries. Be careful out there. Okay, one last and very, very important warning from the owner's manual. Lubrication. The source is crystal clear on this. Use medical-grade stuff only. Apparently, there was a study that linked, let's say, improvised solutions with unexpected ignition events if they're used anywhere near an open flame. So yeah, consider this a public service announcement. All right, so we've got anatomy and maintenance down, but now we get to the really weird stuff. The secret life of the sphincter, the things it gets up to beyond its regular call of duty. So it turns out your sphincter has a daily schedule. It has a circadian rhythm. Its peak performance, its greatest strength, is between 8 and 10 in the morning. But its weakest moment, the time of lowest control, has been scientifically pinpointed to exactly 2:37 p.m., which, as the study points out, is suspiciously right in the middle of a lot of post-lunch meetings. Coincidence?
It's not just a daily thing either. It's seasonal. In the winter, you get the winter sphincter, which is apparently tighter to help keep you warm. Makes sense. But in the summer, you get the summer sphincter, which is looser, for airflow. And researchers think this might just explain that spike in, well, festival accidents.
But all of this, all these little quirks, they lead to the most mind-blowing idea in the whole paper. And it all comes down to one question. Can sphincters communicate with each other? And the answer appears to be yes. They call it butt-to-butt telepathy.
I'm not making this up. It's the documented reflex where your sphincter tightens up just from seeing someone else in, shall we say, gastrointestinal distress. It's a sympathetic response. Your muscles feel for their muscles. That is absolutely wild. Okay, for our last section, we're zooming out. We're going to look at the sphincter's totally unexpected role in shaping actual human history and culture. You heard me right. Let's start with military history. So, there's this legend from the Siege of Vienna back in 1683. It suggests that Austrian troops figured out how to send signals using coordinated sphincter blasts. Now, to be fair, the source material includes a fantastic little note here that the historian who wrote this was, and I quote, probably lying. But the fact that the legend even exists, that says something, doesn't it?
And then there's this, a theoretical model called the domino poop effect. The idea is that in a crowded, confined space, one person's weakened sphincter, one event, can trigger a chain reaction, a literal cascading mass gastrointestinal panic. Something to think about next time you're on a crowded bus or elevator. How about memory? Can a sphincter remember? Well, one study from 2015 suggests it can store emotional memory, and the example they give is the trauma from something they only call the Great Curry Incident of 2009. It kind of suggests that your sphincter remembers that bad decision you made way better than your brain does. So when you put it all together, the big argument from our source becomes pretty clear. We're not just talking about a muscle. We're talking about a moral guardian, a stabilizer for all of society. And yeah, an artistic masterpiece. And that brings us to the final, really provocative question the source leaves us with. If this one little structure is so important to, well, everything, shouldn't we be giving it a lot more credit? Dr. Shoban asks, should sphincter studies be a part of national health policy, art class, orchestral composition? It's a heavy question for sure, and definitely something to think about.